Yo, welcome back to my channel. Yeah, you may hear I'm still a little bit sick, but I hope you don't bother too much about my voice. Yeah, what we do today in this video is we're gonna check out some beats I made in the past week, and this one is the first one I want to show you, and I will play it so you know what's going on. So as you heard, this one's a little bit more on the aggressive side, but yeah, I started the whole beat with these chords, I think, or it's just this little arpeggiated melody. I don't know what scale it is, but it already gives the sound some unique aggressiveness, I would say, and sets the base for the rest of the melody to come in. And that's actually a Triton Extreme preset. I've been using this plugin a lot in the recent days because it's so versatile. I can't say it enough. Definitely check it out if you have the chance. And yeah, then I stacked the next arpeggiated melody on top, which was this little plug sound, I think. Also one I found in Triton Extreme collection called Tingles. Yeah, and I just needed to mess up the melody a little bit more, so it gives us this rage kind of energy we can hear a lot on tracks, for example from Ken Carson or Destroy Lonely. So yeah, I did that, and with those two melodies we already got a good foundation. And then I've got this kind of string sound, also nothing special from Triton Extreme, but yeah, basic progression, just switching between two notes. And this kind of gives it a pretty tense feeling. Then I got Shaperbox on it and sidechained it to a 1/4 rhythm, and yeah, so it kind of ducks down every fourth note. And then what comes in this part is the sub bass I found also in Triton Extreme, and I think it has such a dark and aggressive tone to it. I just had to use that one. And yeah, I didn't really check on the EQ, but as you can see, a lot of low frequencies coming in here, and maybe we can take off some of those higher frequencies because we don't want it on the bass sound. We got another layer I just forgot to talk about. It's this one. Yeah, just another kind of arpeggiated melody, just filling up all the mess from the instruments before. And with that being ready, we can straight jump into the drop part, I think. So yeah, I really like that. Yeah, this hi-hat gets used a lot in official trap.
You like a hi-hat guy, kind of.
Yeah, for this case it's perfect because it's so simple. And then yeah, as basic as the hat, we've got our clap on every fourth, accent snare to just bring in some more bounce. Nothing special right here, but as I see this, I think we can pan it a little bit to the left, so we get a little wider stereo image from all of our instruments. And then yeah, I've got the open hat to bring in even more bounce. Yeah, this one really gets me moving. And yeah, at the end of every 8 bars we've got this little snare roll, and To be honest, this one took me longer than I wanted, because I wanted it to be perfect, and now we listen to it with the 808, and as you can see, the 808 also does some rumble at the end, so it perfectly matches the snare rolls we've got here at the end of every 8 bars. Let's play the drop one more time. I really like how it switches from this sub bass to the 808 to the really distorted 808, but we get to it later how we got this. Yeah. And I think what we can do is just, I already got the channel EQ on here, rolling off all the low end because we don't need it, but I want it to be a little bit more spiky, so I'm thinking about using OTT on here. Let's open it up quickly, and yeah, we want to turn down this knob and this knob to keep the effect subtle. And then maybe boost a little bit in the highs and in the mids. Just a little bit. We don't want to overdo this effect. And then we take our bit crusher actually and turn it into madness. As you already can hear, it instantly got darker. Yeah, let's do around 30%. So and this spices up all the instrument we got in our bass, so that's a really nice thing I always like to do. And I think we can also do another instance of compression. This time we use one of the stock compressors of Logic. So what I always try to do when doing a glue compression is to bring down the attack a little bit and the release a little bit longer to keep the compression a little bit longer on the signal. And as you can see, the graph is not hitting over -5 dB gain reduction, so we can push the makeup gain up a little bit more to not lose any volume by doing this. So that's a pretty slight change, but it's definitely a difference, and that's exactly what I wanted. So right now I just grouped up all those drum sounds together. Let's play them solo. And yeah, they're already pretty nice, I think, but we can do some tweaking also around here, because I like the drum sounds to be a little bit more gritty. And what I like to do is, again, using fresh air on this one, because it really gives the highs some more punch. But as always, we don't want to overdo the effect. Yeah, I can already feel the harshness getting more in the drum section, but I still want to do more, so I'm thinking about saturation in form of Saturn 2. Man, that's a pretty nice saturation plugin, so let's do one section with some tube saturation, I think. Tube distortion, one could say. Let's take clean tube, and then we boost the drive knob up a little bit, just a little bit. And this little change already gives the drums more punch. And yeah, just to be safe, to don't interrupt, make the drums interrupt with our 808, we take our channel EQ and roll off all this low end. But then I think we can also add a small reverb. And what I like to use in the recent days is this Quantic Room Simulator, which is actually stock Logic plugin. And this one gave me some pretty nice results in the last few days. So let's click through some small reverbs and look for something that sounds nice with our drums. Yeah, maybe that's a little bit too much. Let's bring it back a little bit more, boost the high end a little bit, bring down the mix a little bit. Yeah, I think that's good for now. And now I wanted to talk about the Varispeed section I've got right here. And as you can see, I've got it on plus 10%. That's because I'll play it to you with normal speed, and I thought it sounded much better with the Varispeed at 10%. yeah, that's what I originally had with the speed section, but I think it sounds better with plus 10%. And I think I said it in one of my last videos. I always like to be experimental with this Varispeed knob. Just try to turn it up or down when you think your beat is ready. It's just like you get 3 versions of the same beat you just made, and it's always fun to listen to your crafts from another perspective. Now I think we can talk about the master channel and look at what I've got on right there, and it's just an EQ boosting a little bit of the low end and a little bit of the high end. Right here, as you can see, it's a pretty subtle boosting, so not over 3 dB or 2 dB. We just want to keep it subtle because it's on the master channel. And then this leads into the standard clip, soft clipper, one of my go-to plugins when I'm doing soft clipping. But I think I want to go crazy on this one, so let's put on another clipper. This one's actually a free clipper I used in my earlier days a lot, and this one's doing the same job I think, but a little bit different. So let's try to bring it down and adjust all of this to our liking. Yeah. A little bit less, and I think that's the sweet spot I like. So yeah, that's the beat. I think yeah, it reminded me a lot of the Rip Squad production they did for Ice Dancer of Blade, and yeah, I just wanted to resemble it a little bit. And yeah, for this reason I searched for a good sample on KH Insider. Once again, go the platform in my opinion. There's so much gems on there, and yeah, I found this one, so let's listen to that. Such a beautiful flute melody, and I just had to use it. So what I did to process it, yeah, it was the halftime setting, but I'm using Deja Vu because it's free, and I think everyone should do, because why would you buy something when you can get it for free? Yeah. So as you can hear, just half-timed it, and then I've put in a little bit of low cut to prevent any clashing with our later incoming 808. And then that's actually it for the Deja Vu setting. And then I just rolled off the low end again with another EQ, and boosted a little bit of the highs because it was a little it was not bright enough for me to use it. But then I actually used the vocal doubler because in the background of the sample I could hear some kind of voice sounding tones, and I just wanted to enhance them by using a vocal doubler. And I just tweaked those parameters a little bit until my ears liked it, and the mix amount is actually at 100%. Maybe I'll take it down looking at this right now, but I think 90 is still perfectly fine for me. I just used a pad and laid down some chords which are going good with the vocal or flute sample, I should say. And that's actually a preset I found inside of Serum. It's called French Shimmer, and yeah, it's a string preset. So if you want to copy it, feel free to do so. That's a pretty simple melody, I would say. But then in the bridge part, I just did some more instruments. First of all, the flute sample changes up a little bit. Yeah, I was using this shaper box, a time preset, which kind of chops it up. The more interesting thing is I used an amp on this one because I like how gritty it makes it sound. But I always like to turn down the presence of my amps so it's not too harsh in my ears. And then yeah, just again the same channel EQ from earlier, just rolling off any low end, and maybe I want to boost those highs a little bit more. But yeah, you already know how gritty this one sounds, and in combination with this beautiful bell sound which already had a lot of reverb on it. Yeah, I think, yeah, there's the reverb. A lot of reverb. Yeah, just to enhance the synergy between the other melodies. Nothing special right here, as you can see the MIDI, it's barely any notes, just 2-3 notes. And yeah, because I think this sample alone does sound good enough, so we just need some support acts, I should say. And yeah, what we've got right here, again, I copied down the same pattern as before. Listen to them with the drums. Yeah, again, pretty standard sounding drums, but these I actually got from DGB SGR Sad Boys or yeah, Drain Gang drum kit I found on Reddit, and this one's really nice for those kind of beats which are sounding a lot more dreamier than the other stuff I do normally. So yeah, what we've got right here is a simple hi-hat, but this bounce I always call it the Rip Squad drum bounce, because as you can hear, this every time the snare hits, the hi-hat takes a little break. It's pretty noticeable when you actually focus on listening to this. And then yeah, a basic clap with some bounce hits here and there. Nothing special, but then the open hat, yeah, pretty basic too, just flowing with the bounce of the other percussion instruments. And then another open hat to fill it all up. And then down there we've got a little perk, yeah, kind of like a crash sound introducing the next 8 bars. So that's pretty much everything I've got to say for the drums. And now let's take a look at the 808. As you can see, no effects applied on there. We just, yeah, I like the sound how it was from the drum kit, so I just used it like that. And yeah, the bounce is pretty chill, I would say, nothing crazy, no crazy rolls or anything like that. Just following the root notes of the melody. And yeah, just going with the bounce of the drums. Yeah, pretty simple, but I like it very much. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for this beat, but now when I'm thinking about it, I always say the Varispeed knob is pretty overpowered in my opinion, because it's like you made one beat and you can turn it into 3 or even more, because it sounds so different. So let's try it out with the 10% plus setting. Yeah, it's cool, pretty cool, but I think the slower one was the one I think sound better in my ears. But now let's try minus 10%, maybe that's better for our ears. yeah, sounds pretty cool as well, but it's still not better than the 0 setting. So yeah, we are at 142 BPM. That's yeah, pretty fast, but not too fast, and that's perfectly for yeah, rip squad beats in general. Man, I could definitely hear someone from Drain Gang flowing over this beat, but yeah, that's just my imagination. Yeah, so now let's take a look at our master channel. Right here we've got our standard clip applied as always, with the clipping threshold at -40 dB and our soft clip saturation at 22%, and I always do the oversampling rate at ×16 because I think it sounds cleaner with this one. And yeah, maybe I want a little bit more distortion, so let's drag down the clipping threshold a little bit more, so the 808 is really buzzing in our ears. Yeah, so I think that's it for this beat. That's definitely one I could listen to in an endless loop while driving a long way home or something like that. Yeah, I really liked the vibe of it, and if you did like this video, how I broke down this beat, yeah, consider liking and subscribing. It really helps a lot, and yeah, there's nothing more to say from me, and yeah, have a nice day. See you next time.